Hello YouTube, this is Matt from Vectis 3D Models. Today I have a new piece of rolling stock in front of me. This was sent in by a customer called Ian, and he wishes to get it converted over to NEM pockets. Now, all these are prototypes that you're about to see in this video, so there may be some changes before they get released to general public if there is a need for it. So this vehicle is a Hornby Guv, a Bogie Guv, you can see here, which has rail express systems on the side and anything sort of similar. Now this vehicle has a tension lock I've never ever seen before, and I'll show you that in a short while. So this has been sent in just to be converted, something designed which we do offer in the quieter periods of the year, because obviously we're quite busy doing other things. And also trying to get new releases out as well. So occasionally I have some time at the beginning and end of the year to have a look at those which we may not cater for. So this is a brand new one, and I'm going to show you how to convert it today, as well as the NEM pockets we're going to use. So these are brand new, not on any website, eBay shop at the moment at all. So tools you'll need: my trusty Dremel with a cutting disc in it. You can, if you don't have that, you can use needle files, not a problem. I do have a knife just to scrape away any debris or anything like that. You'll need some glue. Again, I would recommend Araldite glue because it's strong and it bonds to this injection molded plastic quite well, as long as you clean the surface and make it ready. So you'll probably need a fiberglass pen or brush as well. So let's crack on. So we're going to have a look at the underside of the vehicle. Now these bogies are clip-in, so all you need to do is firmly pull them out and they pop out as so. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, these have some very unusual tension locks, and if I bring it close to the camera here you can see what I mean. They go around a central post, a little bit of a post on each side, and they sort of clip in, and you can release them from the bottom like so, and they pull up and out. Now unfortunately with resin and 3D printed resin, clips are not brilliant, they will break, and this will probably not be a feature on the NEM pocket I'm about to produce, but you can see here it's a bit unusual. So a little bit of having a look around. You'll need to trim this section back, the central section back towards the two pins on either side, maybe by about 1 millimeter or so. You can use a cutting disc, or I have a square and a flat needle file, just get in the corners, trim that back by 1 millimeter, ready to accept the new pocket. Now I'll move that out of the way. I have one of our pockets here. You can see it's basically the same connector, although just horseshoe shaped on each side, as the rain starts again. And these will just be glued onto here like so. There you go. In fact, that one did clip in, oddly. So you can see how it works, but this will be further back by 1 millimeter or so, just to keep it behind the basically the buffer beam of the carry, so it doesn't stick out too far. Now I've tested these Acadies already, so I know they're at the right height and ready to go. The only small modification I may make is to the top of the NEM pocket, which is very close to the underside of the buffer beam. So any uneven track work, it may be penalised by it derailing. So I certainly may take down the top of this converter just to give it a little bit more breathing room. Now you may say, well, why don't you just move it back even further? We could, but it would mean a longer NEM pocket and not a long enough tension lock, so if you want to use a different tension lock, magnetic coupling or whatever. So this is the problem. But anyway, we'll crack on and I'll make the modifications to the bogie. Okay, so you can see the end has been trimmed off slightly. If I bring that close to the camera, you can see that's been taken back by about 1 millimeter or so. So that gives us room behind the NEM pocket to clip something into it, otherwise it would be just too close and you won't be able to clip anything in. So that's been done and cleaned off with fiberglass pen and got rid of all the debris around it, and also a file as well. So we have our NEM pocket. I'm just going to check, see if it lines up okay, and it's okay. So there we are. So that will need gluing in. So a little bit of glue around the top pin and a little bit of glue around the bottom pin, and that should be okay to hold the pocket. So I'll do that now and get that one all set and ready to go. Meanwhile, here's one I did earlier. So this one's been glued and cleaned up and is all ready to go. So what I'll do is I'll put that on a piece of track with the height gauge for the KD, which lets me know this is at the right height, and then we'll put it back on the carriage or vehicle and see how it goes. So you join me on the other workbench. We have our Bogie here fitted with the NEM pocket converter and our trusty, slightly wonky KD height gauge. Now, as ever, the thing to look out for is not how wonky the gauge is or the KD coupling attached to it. It's basically the bottom here, where it basically makes sure the height of the uncoupling lever on the bottom here is at the right height to this flat section here. So I'm just going to roll up the KD, and you can see it's already looking pretty good, and that couples very nicely. It's at the right height, looks good, couples up, and the uncoupling lever is at the right height, so that's all brilliant. So that's a good sign. So I already know that that's at the right height and that is ready to go. So on to refitting them back onto the carriage, wagon, vehicle, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll go on to just finishing up and getting it shipped back to the customer. So there we have it, all back in one piece. Bogies have been reclipped into the chassis of the van. So just to go over it briefly, the NEM pockets are glued in with Arodite, one of the strongest glues we can use. Always remember to roughen up the surface of the NEM pocket and also the bogie where it's bonding. Other little notes, I would probably look at just filing away a little bit of the underneath of the buffer beam. It's incredibly close, so if you have any uneven track work, it may well derail the van, carriage, whatever. So you may need to just file off the underside, give it a little bit of room to move up and down. These NEM pockets here will only be available in sets of 4. They'll be £5 on eBay when and if they get round to being on there, and they'll be £4 on Made Me, which if you buy off Made Me, it helps reinvest money back into new products and bits and pieces, as we don't have the type of fees that eBay charge. So this will go back off to the customer who sent it in, along with a few samples so you can try them out, and then hopefully they'll be available online somewhere towards the end of November on the Made Me website. Hope this helps, and if you have any questions or possible requests, please send them in or leave them below in the comments. The email, of course, is Vectis 3D models, all one word, @btinternet.com.